Well, we are officially on the road to WrestleMania. In fact, it's right around the corner. And I will tell you this, when you actually look at the match card, I think it's quite exciting and I think it's going to be damn good. When we do bring into the conversation, however, the build to WrestleMania 37, well, that kind of sparks a different conversation. Which is why I'm Simon Miller. Welcome to What Culture Wrestling. And indeed, just to get you as pumped and ready as possible, we are going to take the finger of power and we're going to give the good bits an up and the bad bits a down for the build of the granddaddy of them all. Which means a lot of the time we're going to be talking about someone coming out going, oh, hello, can I have a match? And someone else going, of course you're going to have a match. But that's just kind of WWE storylines. Let's up those downs. Now, before we do get going, I just want to make it clear once again that we're talking about the build for WrestleMania 37 and not the matches themselves. Because look, the WWE title is on the line between Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. That gets me excited. That gets me all going deep down in my loins. It's just two big guys who are going to kick the absolute crap out of each other. When it comes to the build, well, it's got to get it down. Because the real problem is they haven't been given much time to do much of anything. Like, Bobby Lashley just became the champion and that was awesome, and then a couple of weeks later, it's like, oh, I'm going to fight Drew McIntyre. And also, there is a story staring WWE right in the face, but they're not really addressing it. Because both of these dudes had to leave the company to then come back to become the WWE champion, and that should be the crutch of this entire thing. That's what they should be laying all their hopes and their dreams and their emotions on, as opposed to Bobby Lashley, who has dominated everyone from the last year, saying, oh, I'm a little bit intimidated by Drew McIntyre, I'm going to put a target on his back. I mean, you could have pulled a gun on Lashley at one point, and the gun would have ran away, because it would have been so terrified. It also saw the end of the Hurt Business, which was a really stupid decision, especially because now Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin are just in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. They were going to be associated with the main event at one point, so there ain't no way we're giving WWE a free pass for doing that. We then move on to the New Day versus AJ Styles and Omos for the Raw Tag Team titles. And nobody's going to agree with me here, and I actually think you're right. Somebody should come and look inside my head, but I'm giving it up. And I do admit it was mostly that happy music that played over the New Day's game night that really made me laugh. But also, finally, after all these months, we are turning Omos into this big monster who actually comes across as quite intimidating. And I know he had to talk about his favourite colour being mauve or mauve or mahooey, whatever the hell it was. But I think that Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston and AJ Styles all understand where the stupid line is, and they all walk it very, very well. So essentially, they sports entertain me, which means I'm a happy pup. This is not true when it comes to Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon. Down. Now, there's every chance this is actually meant for kids. And if that is the case, I don't want to crap over it too much, because wrestling is always best when you are a child. However, I am not a child. I am a grown-ass adult, so I can only judge it on my own merits, and I think it's rubbish. The whole point is that Shane McMahon thinks Braun Strowman is stupid, so tells him every week that he's stupid, and for some reason Braun can't handle it. And like Strowman, this happens to me every day. I get called stupid, I get called a bald a-hole, and this is from my parents. Imagine what the internet's saying. There's just no weight to it, and it just feels like a vehicle to get Shane on the show so that Shane can be on the show. Now, I will say, it is actually kind of cool they're having a cage match, because this is only the second cage match in WrestleMania history, but surely we could have got there a better way. I mean, we've seen hopscotch, dunce caps, fake report cards, and the fact that Braun Strowman now thinks he is a train and is accompanied by train sound effects. I have no flipping idea. And I tell you what else is on, at WrestleMania 37, Cesaro, despite being in the company for ages, is going to have his first singles match at a WrestleMania. How the hell is that possible? It's a damn good one though, as he takes on Mr. Drip himself, also known as Seth Rollins, and that's one of the major reasons this entire feud is getting a free pass. Seth Rollins versus Cesaro at WrestleMania, surely, unless something awful's going to happen, will steal the damn show. And yes, it is a little bit shallow, but maybe it's because of that simplicity that it started to work. I mean, they're mostly arguing about giant swings and Shinsuke Nakamura, but again, I'm so blinded by the fact I get to see this, I don't even care. So I'm biased. I'm being massively biased, and I don't want to jinx anything, which is why I'm gonna give it an up. because it's just so nice seeing Cesaro in a somewhat dominant role. And it's not the same when it comes to Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. Down. Because I don't get this one. You have two wrestlers who are so good and who are so talented that they could main event night one of WrestleMania, and rather than just focus on their skill, we're talking about the tag team champions, we're talking about Reginald, they keep losing all the time. It doesn't make any sense. And because of their relationship with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, Bianca and Sasha couldn't have lost any more. Now, people melt down when I say this, but if Stone Cold Steve Austin won a Rumble in the late 90s, would he have lost on his journey to WrestleMania? No, he would not. So why are we doing it here? Banks and Belair are so good, it actually doesn't matter what you do to them. They are going to light that place up. But again, just go, brilliant wrestler, title on the line, and then take a step back. You don't need to do anything else. Which leads us very nicely into the women's tag team title scene. And all of this has just been nuts. Down. I mean, they're fighting Asuka and Rhea Ripley on the Raw before WrestleMania, which is a storyline we've already done on SmackDown, which begs the question, why are we doing it again? And sadly, we have to talk about this again later. Nia and Shayna are also going to pull double duty, I think, because Natalya and nobody meaner than Tamina, Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, and Naomi and Lana are going to fight on night one, and then the winner of that is going to fight Nia and Shayna on night two, and all of this becomes very convoluted and very complicated very quick. What we really need to do from now till next year's WrestleMania is just keep the women's titles and the women's tag team titles separate so the whole roster can shine. And then we get to more sadness with Matt Riddle and Sheamus. I am really excited about this match for the US Championship, especially because recently Sheamus has just been having banger after banger after banger after banger, so hopefully it means when he gets to WrestleMania, he'll have another banger. The sad part though is that they've just had no time whatsoever, and really this was sparked into life when Sheamus found Riddle and hit him in the gut with a scooter and then said scooters suck. And I think throughout the whole card it is this match that sums up the overall feeling of it the best. You know they're going to do well when they get in the squared circle, but to get there, it's just, can I have a match? Yes sir, you can have a match. And we really gotta stop doing that at some point. Down. And yes, I should also point the same stick at Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, but sometimes you can make up own narratives within your head, and that just means that it works. And what am I talking about? Well, it's simple. While WWE hasn't overly mentioned this, I'm going to keep everything crossed they do something with it, the history between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, even dating well back before WWE, is so damn awesome and it's so damn great. To know they're now going to have a singles match at WrestleMania 37, well, it just fills me up with glee. Their chemistry is also ridiculous because I don't think they've ever had a bad match. And if WWE actually allows to go out there and do what we know they can do, once again, we may be looking at a show stealer. And I get that Logan Paul is going to be involved, but whatever, I'm sure he'll be nothing more than an afterthought. And also, while he's not my cup of tea, I get that he brings an audience. But all I have to do is just pretend he's not there. I have that power, like He-Man. Bad Bunny versus The Miz is next on our list. I mean, it is what it is. And I respect the amount Bunny has done ever since he came into WWE, and I really do hope he has a great match at WrestleMania 37. The problem, however, is you only want to do this stuff with celebrities to try and get the rub onto one of your WWE stars that is meant to be Damian Priest, and he ain't even in the damn match. And I get that's because Priest and John Morrison are injured, but it does expose the build just a little bit. I mean, at one point it was over the 24/7 title, and then they were kind of arguing over posters. It's not really something I'm getting emotionally involved in. We also had people dressing up as literal rabbits, so while I hope that Mr. Bunny puts in a really great performance, once again it's been a little bit of a struggle. Down. And it's another down for Asuka versus Rhea Ripley. I mean, this is really disappointing, isn't it? But it's everything that we've already said. Rhea Ripley just turned up on Raw one day, she swanned to the ring, she said that she would like to fight for the Women's Championship, and Asuka needed something to do, because we never get any feuds when involving Asuka, so she said, alright. And we got that contract signing, which would have been fine, but then yeah, as already mentioned, the tag team titles all of a sudden took over it, and it was like, why are we doing this again? So let's just keep it nice and simple. Rhea Ripley has to win that championship at WrestleMania. That's nothing against Asuka either, because she's brilliant, but she's also bulletproof, whereas with Rhea, we could actually turn her into a star overnight, but the only way to do that is to ensure she's victorious and then she just whoops everybody else's ass. I'm not really sure what the hold-up up to this point has been, and the match itself will rock. But yeah, once again, we're kind of just rolling into April the 10th. Piggy versus Apollo Crews may surprise some people though, because I'm giving it another. And yes, look, I get it. Piggy has whooped Apollo Crews' ass so much. Where is the justification for saying that Apollo deserves another shot? But there has been a lot of good here. Crews finally has a character and he comes across like a madman. And Biggie is right in the zone at the moment. Like, when he's cutting those serious promos and he's all squeaky, he kind of sounds like he's super pissed off. And because of that, it comes across as real. Fastlane didn't help because we had that weird finish that was then just ignored. But that's WWE's fault. You shouldn't be having a pay-per-view 3 weeks before WrestleMania. So I'm not going to put that on the shoulders of Big E or Apollo Crews. I just want them to have a badass match that is representative of their talents, and if they do that, it also helps the Intercontinental title. So I've enjoyed all this, despite the madness. Which brings us to Randy Orton versus The Fiend. Now, if you are a regular watcher of normal ups and downs, you will know that this feud has been a bit of a swing and a miss with me. I don't know why, just for some reason it's not clicking, but when it comes to the build, I'm giving it up. Because no one should be making content just for me. You make your stories and you make your entertainment, and some people are going to like it and some people aren't going to like it. But what I massively do appreciate is here with these two guys, we have one hell of a long-term feud. I mean, it's been going on for months. Bray Wyatt got set on fire, Alexa Bliss went all crazy, there was 2 Randy Ortons, then Randy Orton was throwing up goo. It'd be great if WWE allowed all programs to have this much time because you could invest in it and it actually feels like, oh my gosh, we're at WrestleMania. Of course that's where we pay it off. For sure, coming out the other side, I don't know what we do. Like, is Bray just gonna be a burned man for the rest of his wrestling career? Or is he somehow gonna come back to normality? And if you do that, how the hell do you justify it? But I don't have to worry about that because I don't need to come up with the answer. What I am gonna do is just give a round of applause for WWE actually being dedicated to something and hope that coming out the other end of WrestleMania, they do this with the entire roster. Wouldn't that just be lovely? So there you go, the ups and the downs for WrestleMania 37. Now please do make sure you get in the comments and let us know your own ups and downs because everybody's going to disagree. Then like the video, share the video and subscribe. Head on over to whatculture.com where you can read articles like this with your eyes. You can come follow us on social media and click one of the videos on the screen to stay on the channel. My name is Simon for What Culture. Thank you very much for watching me as always. And I tell you this, WrestleMania comes but once a year, and when it does, I always get really excited because I am a massive, massive nerd. See ya.